I've suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
And I don't really want the maker looking in my. Oh no! What did you say to them?
What can I say to them? What they believe is what the chantry says, and the chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Okay. Hey boy, how you doing? Come here.
Oh, why, you little...
Did you just jump outside of your own shadow again?
Oh, you're so funny. Such rapier wit. Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
It was just a warning. He could have taken your hand off. Good boy, dude. Teach the Alistair a lesson. Oh boy. It was just a warning. He could have taken your hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Don't listen to Alistair. He's full of rubbish.
Hey!
Oh.
Ugh, look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
He's taking the walking roller coaster. Oh, wow. It's the thought that counts. He means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard the lady. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
You don't need to be that. You don't need to be rude to her. I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
Watch Sten Reagan.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Love it. How many more? Reagan digs fiercely in the ground at your feet. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? He goes back to digging. Oh, I love this dog. Gonna take some time, you know. Well, good luck with that then. Ignores you and keeps digging. Okay, I really like this dog. I really like this dog. He cocks his head at you. Pet Reagan. Rolls around happily on his back. I think that's all. I think that's all with Reagan. Well, okay.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend.
I really like.
But don't let them fool you. They're an army.
Like
The
early,
other
like
main
the
purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So, couldn't others learn these now?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
So you were addicted to this lyrium.
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Ah. All of your party's injuries are healed when you return to the camp. Each party member can be found somewhere in the camp. Gotcha. All right, Stan, let's
Why
have
are
a
we
talk.
stopping?
Actually, I think we should talk for a moment. We're working together. I think I should get to know you.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I need to know if I can trust you at my back.
I am Kunari. I have given my word to aid you. We are not people of idle promises.
I've never seen a Quinari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
No, why not?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of... The elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
You said you were in an army.
I am.
Have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, elf.
What do you mean by that? So you must know your way around a battlefield then.
Some of them. They aren't all alike.
Are you always this bad about answering questions?
Generally. I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
Are you alright? You were in that
You
cage
are
for a week.
concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
Well, we should get moving then.
As you wish.
Alright. Well. Alright. Now talk with Morrigan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Can you teach others to become shape changers?
I cannot teach you, no. But any other mages that cared to learn, yes, I could do that. Send whoever you wish my way, and I shall teach them what I can in the camp, provided they possess the will to even make the attempt. What do you wish of me? If you must.
Did you go up in the Kakari Wa?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You can probe me anytime.
Beg pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed.
For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
I have no idea. I'm not human.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so.
Same here.
When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
And yet, here you are.
Yes, here I am. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? Yes?
Always gonna
Yes?
quick save before this stuff. Okay, so in the well, so life in the wilds must have been very lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
That sounds wonderful.
For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. It was encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
What happened then?
Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
And they made you stronger, didn't they?
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
Morgan plus 9. Wow. Okay, we
Yes?
still got more to go through. Like, that's something
If
else
you
of
must.
Okay, so... Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
And you are cute when you're evasive.
Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we, too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
You really had no trouble with them?
I am unsure. I was too young to understand, and perhaps 'twas bravado on Flemeth's part, or perhaps she was merely amused. I will never know. Flemeth would warn them, once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
What exactly? What exactly is an apostate?
You do not know? The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
If I were a mage, I might think the same. I agree completely.
Oh, I hope you are not simply being agreeable. It would be a refreshing change. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
Oh, okay.
Yes? If you must.
Is Flemeth...
I cannot teach you, no, but any other may send who... Yes? If you must. I cannot teach you.
Am I just gonna continue? Wait, what? Hold on. Wait. Okay, so I'm at plus 20.
Yes? If you must. I cannot teach you. No.
Okay. Is that 24? No, it's just that. Okay, so it doesn't change from where it was. Okay. I was just like,
Yes?
okay, I'm like, all right,
If
one
you
more thing to
must.
ask. Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
She seems more like an old, powerful Maleficar.
You mean, is she truly the Flemeth of legend and story? Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I have heard a little.
No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long ago is this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden. The
Oh.
tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Sold his wife to another man? Flemeth must have been angry.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement.
Really?
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So she truly loved Osen?
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Which? She never invaded, or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Aren't abominations usually insane horrors?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
An interesting story, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother died a long time ago.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
New ability, minor magic. Inspired. Inspired by your leadership, this party member has gained a minor bonus to magic. I don't even use magic. That's kind of a useless ability. I think. It might. I don't know if it will come in handy here. I wonder though. Oh, that buff is to Morrigan. Oh, I thought that buff was to me. It was just like, why do I get that? Anyways, okay. That's the case. I'm gonna try and talk to everybody as much as I can. I want to Morgan, Liliana, Reagan. Yeah, he's just like plus 100 friendly. Sten. Plus 2 neutral. Okay. See if that works. Approval. Plus 25. Awesome. Shapeshifter, mage, bard, rogue. Okay. I'm guessing that's her specialty. Okay. Interesting.
Yes,
All right. Let's talk a little bit
Well-
more.
here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
You just don't seem to belong in a cloister, or a beautiful, charming woman like yourselves, harmonious, preachy, like all the other chants. You just don't seem to belong in a cloister.
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed.
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
Oh. And why were you seeking safe harbor? Oh, so your skills were learned before your time at the Chantry.
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Well, here I am.
You have tales to
Of
share.
course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Tell me a bit, Darkspawn.
Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Any stories from Relay?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
Sounds
A
interesting.
long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney.